Hey Korea boos, welcome back to my channel. There comes a time in every K-pop YouTuber's life where you eventually jump on the bandwagon that is doing an unpopular K-pop opinions video, and today is that day. This trend will never die, and you'll love to see it. Note that I entitled this video Spicy K-pop Opinions, not Spicy K-pop Facts, so try not to get too heated. If you disagree with my opinions, you are more than welcome to politely state your own in the comments. So without further ado, let's get into the video. 1. Secret Number gets most of their popularity from the fact that they have an Indonesian member. Secret Number's debut and comeback were mediocre at best. Their comeback, Got That Boom, was definitely better than their debut. Who dis just sounds so cheaply made and unfinished. My main issue with their music is that it sounds extremely dated, like the type of music that was popular back in 2014. At first, I was so confused as to why their debut had so many views, but then I learned that they had the first Indonesian idol to debut in a K-pop girl group. Then everything clicked. If you didn't know, Indonesia is the country with the second largest market for K-pop, only behind South Korea of course, and accounts for the second highest contribution of YouTube views on K-pop music videos, which is likely to explain where Secret Number gets most of their views from. This isn't hate towards the group but rather the company for giving them such mediocre songs. If they were given actual quality music, then their popularity wouldn't be so questionable. 2. Jongdae and ateez have got to be some of the most disgusting, delusional, selfish, bottom of the barrel filthy pieces of absolute trash we have amongst the K-pop community. I thought y'all would get over Jongdae's so-called betrayal by the time he released his single Hello in October, but I was sadly wrong. I will never in my entire life understand how you think it is justified to project hate and demand someone to leave a group just for getting married and having a child. Do y'all realize that he is a 28-year-old, I repeat, a 28-year-old grown-ass man? If you think it's a sin for a fully grown adult to get married and have children, then I hope y'all aren't considering getting married and having kids yourselves because you clearly lack functioning brain cells and are delusional beyond help. I get that idols dating in Korea is controversial, but this is just beyond ridiculous. The man is 28 years old. I didn't know that people wanting to start a new chapter in their life was such a crime. How old must you be to have this sort of mindset? Like, I'm sorry you started stanning EXO during their military era, and if you have been a long-time fan of EXO and think what Jongdae did is wrong, then you should seriously seek help, because this behavior is just indefensible. And stop calling yourselves EXOLs. We don't need scum like you. Idols are not slaves to your delusions. I'm sorry that your fantasies and fanfictions of you and Jongdae will never come true. 3. Stop stanning groups before they debut. It's embarrassing. Like y'all were stanning aespa weeks before their debut based solely on their teaser photos. I was scrolling through Twitter and saw people literally choosing their aespa biases and bias wreckers, changing their usernames and profile pictures without even waiting to hear a single note, a speck, or even a crumb of their music. Like, are you serious? That cannot be me. I see comments saying things like, been a fan since pre-debut. If this is you, then you are obviously not into the group for their music but for their visuals. It's fine to be excited for a debut, but how about you be patient and wait for the actual release before you embarrass yourselves. 4. Speaking of aespa, they have only debuted 2 months ago, but have already managed to garner some of the most obnoxious fans. Like, how can y'all already be comparing the success of these newborns to the likes of Red Velvet, Twice, and Blackpink? You absolute buffoons. I've seen so many aespa stans on Twitter already fighting with other fandoms and even having the audacity to slander other SM groups like Red Velvet, EXO, NCT and even Girls' Generation. Y'all are so embarrassing. Do you clowns not realize that these groups are the reason why aespa have food on their table? Without them, aespa would have been so irrelevant and would have made no noise, especially with that debut. So how about you keep them out of your mouths and show some respect. 5. The choreography for Lovesick Girls is worse than Pretty Savage. I don't think that the Pretty Savage choreography was as bad as y'all made it out to be, and was definitely not bad enough to justify sending death threats to the choreographers, nor is it ever justifiable to be sending death threats for any choreography in the first place. I think some of y'all just need to remind yourselves that you're getting heated over choreography for a B-side of a Korean pop group. I'm sure Blackpink would be proud of y'all proclaiming that you want their choreographers dead. Anyways, it wasn't bad. It was just a wasted opportunity to be something iconic. The lovesick girls choreography just looks so stale and robotic. I especially hate the excessive amount of walking around and changing positions during the chorus. The choreography for the chorus is supposed to be the most iconic and most memorable part of the whole song, but the sheer amount of moving around the stage is so distracting. Like, what is this? There is hardly a single moment in the chorus where the members aren't blatantly changing positions and just walking around. The choreographers didn't even try to make it look appealing. Look at how seamless these position changes were in D4. 6. Boy group names are starting to get ridiculous. Like, imagine training for years and finally being able to debut, only to find out that your group name is called Gravity. Like, is that supposed to be a combination of cavity and gravity? And what the hell is an hypen? It sounds like hymen. And why is it that so many boy group names have random letters and numbers in them? It won't take long until group names start looking like Wi-Fi passwords. Not gonna lie, a weird group name can really put me off from wanting to stand them. 7. Stop calling all of Red Velvet's non-Velvet songs flops. Not every Red Velvet comeback needs to cater to your taste. If you didn't know, Red Velvet's concept is that they have a red side and a velvet side. Y'all are probably just a bunch of Bad Boy and Psycho stans. After Bad Boy was released, there were so many new stans that flocked to the Revel Love fandom like a bunch of seagulls. Then, Power Up, Really Bad Boy, Zimzalabim and Oompa Oompa were released and y'all called them all flops and demanded that they do another girl crush concept. I can only assume that y'all are just newbie K-pop fans that only stan Blackpink and haven't acquired the taste for anything that's not girl crush. And how can y'all seriously call other groups boring, repetitive and unoriginal for doing the same girl crush concepts? But the moment a group actually comes up with an actual unique and original concept, y'all call it weird and a flop. Just accept the fact that your taste in music doesn't extend past girl crush and that you have a limited appreciation for other concepts. I'm guessing y'all are the same people who hated on the outfits for Zimzalabim. Like, what do you expect for a circus/theme park concept? Y'all are just boring and hate fun. Don't expect Red Velvet to follow any trends. They are the most versatile girl group for a reason. 8. Treasure should have debuted with Going Crazy. If you didn't know, Treasure had a pre-debut song called Going Crazy, which is such a bop and one of my favorite songs to come out of 2020. The main issue I have with their actual debut and comebacks are the choruses, particularly in Boy and I Love You, where the beat drops just sound so out of place and almost jarring to listen to. And while we're on the topic of Treasure, I don't know if this is just me, but I couldn't help but cringe and feel extremely uncomfortable when I saw them fling their tongues around suggestively in their music video, especially knowing that this guy is literally 16 years old. If a 16-year-old female idol was made to do suggestive things like this, y'all would be up in flames. And don't even get me started on the lyrics. Like, what the hell, YG? Why are you making these little children do sexy concepts? Actually, they're not sexy, they're sexualized. There's a difference. 9. Fancy and Feel Special are not Twice's best title tracks. In regards to Fancy, although the pre-chorus and verses are amongst Twice's best, I found the chorus to be quite underwhelming and unmemorable compared to some of their other songs. The chorus is reminiscent of Heart Shaker, which I also found to be quite forgettable. For me, the most important part of a song is the chorus, as it is essentially the identity of a song. And because I felt that the chorus in Fancy wasn't up to par with the rest of the song, it dragged the song down. And with Feel Special, I feel like it was just a more mature, less cute version of Fancy. Don't get me wrong, I think these songs are great additions to Twice's discography, but I never really understood why a large majority of people say that Twice peaked with Fancy and/or Feel Special. I feel like people who say Fancy and Feel Special are Twice's best songs are just those who can't get into their cute concepts and didn't start getting into Twice's music until Fancy. Personally, I think TT is their best, most well-produced and most iconic title track. Me saying that Fancy and Feel Special aren't their best doesn't mean that I despise these songs. I still think that they were two of the best songs to come out of 2019 and both were worthy contenders for Song of the Year.